This week's astrology is for the rebels, it's for the outcasts, it's for the dreamers. Is that you? Let's get into it. My name is Comet, and welcome to Just Another Magic Monday, particularly your Magic Monday astrology forecast for the week of July 31st to August 6th, 2023, where we are discussing the unique challenges, blessings, and opportunities embedded within this week's astrology. But furthermore, what we really focus upon is how you are going to feel these themes come to the surface within your universe as you navigate your week. And here on Magic Monday, we strive to empower you with the information of how you can co-create with the cosmos, synchronizing with the transits and ingresses and stations that we will experience week to week so that you can live with more magic and more alignment. And this week, the secret to living with more magic and more alignment is wrapped up into balance. And the balance I'm speaking of is this balance of idealism with realism, being able to envision a more beautiful tomorrow while still being squarely rooted within today. Firstly, this is embodied by the Aquarius full moon, Tuesday, August 1st. Aquarius as a sign is a paradox within itself because it's a sign of the future. It's the sign of innovation. But also when we dig deeper, we see that fundamentally it's a pretty logical sign. It's an air sign. We see it's a pretty stubborn sign. It's a fixed sign. And in traditional astrology, it's ruled by Saturn. It's a very realistic sign. And that's where genuine change comes from, is being able to be well rooted within the problems of today, the issues of today, while not losing that luster for envisioning what could be, for being able to imagine a more beautiful, a more just, a more humanitarian world. And that'll be important for you to navigate both collectively as well as individually within your universe, because this week we have Mercury opposite Saturn, and this can be a bad news transit. This could be an energy around looking out at your world and just seeing problems, just seeing things to fix and to improve. And while we're getting helpful insight, we're getting helpful data from this detailed look at our lives and all the issues that are coming up, it's so important to not overly identify with the problem. Because again, when you're well rooted within the problem, it's very hard to find the solution. And this week we have some optimistic big picture energies with Mars trine Jupiter and Sun square Jupiter. So it's both this balance around observing what needs fixing, both collectively as well as within your world. What needs to be improved? What needs to be dialed in? What issues are there? What constructive criticism do we need to dial in? But furthermore, what can we do about it? That's the ask with Mars trine Jupiter, is to feel empowered by this forward momentum, to feel empowered that you do have it within your ability to create a more beautiful tomorrow, both for yourself as well as society. It's just deeply important that you do not get overwhelmed by the amount of what it is that you're observing. You know, Mercury is in Virgo now, so you can be really taking a very microscopic look to all of the issues within your life, within society. But it's important to not allow it to dampen your spirit. It's going to be very important to harness your inner dreamer. And it's not the sort of dreaming where you're not grounded in reality. Again, it's a balance. Being able to balance out the realistic data of what's coming up around, okay, this is not ideal, this needs to be improved, this needs to be fixed, but also being able to step out of the problem every so often to envision what could be, how could we fix this, how could we band together. That's going to be so important in navigating your week. So we will be taking a deep dive into this energy, thematically as well as day by day. But before we do, take a step inside my Cosmic Cafe. Let me know what you are sipping on to start this full moon week. Full moon weeks means heightened emotions, lots of things going on, very, very busy, so perhaps caffeine is a bit more appropriate. Today I'm sipping on an iced Americano from the lobby downstairs, and if you're familiar with Magic Monday, you know this is not the Cosmic Corner, this is not my abode, and if you're new to Magic Monday, no, I'm not so bougie that I can just casually grab iced Americanos from a lobby downstairs. That is not my reality at all. So I'm traveling, I'm in New York City. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. You're welcome to jump to the next timestamp if you want to get straight to the astrology. So another juxtaposition of Aquarius energy city is this balance between feeling part of a group, feeling part of a collective, while also feeling empowered to be a lone wolf or do your own thing, march to the beat of your own drum sometimes, which is absolutely a balance that I've been striking during my time here in New York City. So I've highlighted I'm here with friends and I've been staying at their apartments, on their couches and whatnot. It's been so much fun to spend so much time with them, to be able to see the city through their eyes, meet all their friends, see their typical places. But I knew, especially for the amount of time that I've been staying here, I knew that I would crave some time alone. Again, it's nothing personal to anyone ever. I just am a 12th house moon. Okay, my 12th housers, you know what I'm talking about. And I just don't want to take advantage of their generosity and overstay my welcome or anything. I knew that I would want some time during my time here to just kind of do my own thing, be within my own space. So initially I had booked an Airbnb and something happened. I guess Airbnb suing New York, or New York put in a law that Airbnb is not able to operate, or my host just got a bad vibe off me. Either way, my host canceled 3 weeks to go and said Airbnb changed the laws, but who knows? I'll fact check and see if maybe she just didn't like my vibe of my Airbnb profile picture. Who knows? But either way, my reservation was canceled. So it's like, oh gosh, what do I do now, right? And so I went to like one of those sketchy like third-party sites, like an Expedia type deal, but it was one that I'd never heard of in my life. And I found a crazy rate. A rate so low that low-key I was like, am I being scammed? Am I being scammed? Right after I booked, I had to like call the hotel and be like, do you see this reservation or did I just get scammed? Turns out it was not a scam. So it's for the Marlington Hotel. It's in Greenwich Village. I'd never heard of it. I knew nothing about it, and it's wild how perfect it is for me. So firstly, something about me is that I love old buildings, and this place was constructed in the 1920s, and you can totally see it as part of the architecture, the decor, the vibe in here. It very much feels like you're stepping into a different time, which I adore. I've been hanging out a lot within the lobby, and if you just tune out the cell phones and the laptops that everybody's on, it literally feels like you're in a different time. And the people watching here has been unreal in the lobby. Like just yesterday, I was sitting down next to two fashion designers who were like talking with a textile merchant. They were showing her all the fabrics for their upcoming designs. This morning, eating breakfast, I was behind two HBO execs who were talking about shows. Like it's wild, all of the people that are coming in and out of this hotel. And what's crazier is the history. So this place used to be a focal point for the Beat generation, including a writer who has really significantly impacted my life, which is Jack Kerouac. You may know him from the book On the Road, but he composed, I want to say they're both novellas, Tritressa and The Subterraneans, while staying at the Marlington. I guess this was one of his haunts, and that was a writer who's really impactful for me on my journey. And I looked up his chart, and our charts are very, very similar. Like he's a Pisces sun, Virgo moon, Mercury Aquarius, Venus Pisces. Our Mars signs are different, but that was wild. Look up the charts of your favorite writers, artists, directors. Sometimes you can find fun little parallels, fun little similarities of why you resonate or feel so pulled to their work. So crazy, all of the synchronicity of how everything snapped into place. And the only downside of the sketchy rate that I got is that I am in a literal shoebox. Again, I'm not complaining. I am not complaining. Rate I got, I'm just happy that I did not get scammed. And I'm very happy for the free iced Americanos and iced lattes in the lobby until 12 p.m. I've been most certainly taking advantage of that. New York City is right on my Neptune line in astrocartography, if you are familiar. And that story that I just told you, it's so symptomatic of Neptune, because that's been my entire experience here. It's where things fall apart, reservations get canceled. I've been battling with time. I feel like I'm constantly running late for things, but also things just snap together perfectly. And my friends who live here, they're trying to convince me to move, but I don't know if you could live on your Neptune line. Does anybody live on your Neptune line? I would love to know, because life here feels like a dream, but I'm curious if you can live in a dream. Trust me, I've tried. I'm a Pisces sun. I try to live in a dream every single day of my life. So I would love to hear from you on that. Just a couple of quick notes. Clearly, I'm in a literal shoebox because, the rate that I got, I'm not complaining. Okay, but I just want to say sorry about the angle. This was the best that I could do because this is quite literally the room. Also, traveling's tough. You just lose things, you lose track of things. Somehow, shifting, bouncing from place to place, I lost a little fuzzy thing that goes in the microphone that helps mellow out the sound. So I apologize if it's harsh or if there's popping sounds. I am so sorry. And I think that's it. So let's go ahead and take it into vibe check of the week. So vibe check of the week is essentially when we liken all of the astrological energies that we'll be navigating this week, from Sun square Jupiter and Mercury opposite Saturn. We essentially take all of the aspects and we compare it to a real life scenario, so that even if you forget the intricacies of what does it mean that we have a full moon Aquarius squaring Jupiter, you can tune into a real life scenario that helps you paint a picture of how this energy can come to the surface within your universe as you navigate the week. So this week's vibe feels like a work meeting. And before you click off, saying, Haley Comet, I deal with enough of those in my daily life. I don't need it within my astrology as well. Hear me out. Here's why this week's astrology feels like a work meeting, and a very particular kind of work meeting. So we'll say, for the sake of the vibe check, that you work at a marketing agency and you are particularly in charge of collecting analytics and data so that you can report it to clients in order to track efficacy of your campaigns. And you find a glaring issue within the software that has impacted your guys' ability to get data for the last 3 months. And a lot of that data you will not be able to refine. It is gone. And there's part of you, your heart's sinking as you discover this glaring work mistake, and this is your department, so you might come under fire for this, and part of you just wants to run away and escape from it and just be like, la 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 la, I don't want to deal with this. But you know this is an issue that needs to be fixed, it needs to be improved. So an emergency work meeting is called. And there's power in groups, there's power in numbers, there's power in different personalities with different skill sets getting together. Because at this work meeting, you have, maybe we'll say half of your colleagues are really rooted within the problem around, oh, this is so bad. They're going deep to find out the severity of the problem, why the data was not extracted, saying this is so bad, this is so bad. And then half of your colleagues are like, it's not a big deal, we'll figure it out. Let's think of a solution. Let's think of how we can solve this issue. And the power is in the middle. Because if you just had the individuals who were rooted in the problem, right, no solution would be generated because they're overly in the problem. They're diving deep into the severity of the code that was messed up that affected the data, and how some of that data will never be retracted. And it's like, this is so bad, this is so bad, this is so bad. They'll just come in on that meeting being like, this is so bad, we might need to close down the entire marketing agency because this is so bad. But if you had a meeting of just like the dreamers, the optimists, the idealists, right, who are like, we'll figure it out, it's all good, then they might gloss over it. Some of the ideas that they might have from that meeting might be unrealistic, not rooted within reality. Balance is in synergy. Balance is in groups coming together and being able to share their ideas, share their expertise, so that a genuine solution can be created. Because again, to find a solution, you need to be aware of the problem but not identified with it. Because again, when you're too in the problem, you can't even find the solution. But if you're not rooted within the problem, you won't understand the depth of it, and thus you won't be able to fix it and improve it. And that's why this week's astrology feels like a work meeting. Again, you can think of it as a group of friends, any group of people getting together to try to solve an issue. And understanding the value that different viewpoints bring to the table in order to fix the issue but be able to move forward, right? To be able to balance realistically, yes, this sucks, this is a bad problem that we uncovered, but also being able to optimistically say, this is how we're going to fix it, this is how we're going to look towards the future, right? We don't need to shut down the marketing agency. So the bad news energy of this week is Mercury opposite Saturn. Now, Mercury is in its sign of exaltation as it trains its Virgo. That means we are looking at our lives and combing through it like with a fine-tooth comb. We are tuning into details that we had missed prior. Like, you could have just walked by your baseboards every single day, but when Mercury enters Virgo, you cannot stop looking at how dusty your baseboards are. Or maybe you were fine getting ready on your vanity, but now it's driving you insane how there's a mascara stain. Like, little details. Again, micro things around the home, but also problems at work can get really bothersome. Little things like a continuity within our phone around first name, last name, emoji. Like, it might bother you how some people are under their nickname and have emojis, like little things, some helpful in improving our life, some deeply inconsequential. We're observing it all. And with the opposite to Saturn, there's something very restrictive or very limiting about the information that we are learning. So again, this can be constructive criticism. Someone saying something to us that's like, ouch, but it is helpful to grow. This could also be us uncovering an error, which sucks, but it is helpful to be able to fix it. You might be looking at certain arenas of your life around, this is a problem, I need to fix this. And with Mercury opposite Saturn, we're very pessimistic about it, right? We're literally looking at our lives and hyper-focusing on everything that is wrong with it. But simultaneously, we have this very positive can-do energy of Mars trine Jupiter, descripted within the vibe check of the people at the meeting who are like, come on guys, let's find a solution, let's move forward, we've got to do something. We can't just sit here talking about how bad the problem is all day. We need to be able to look towards the future. And I would love to hear, what's the role that you play within your friend group or at meetings? Are you the idealist who wants to talk about solutions, or are you somebody who talks about the depth of the problem? Now, both are needed. I'm definitely on the idealist side, and I'm very grateful for the friends and the colleagues and people in my life who bring me back down to earth. Again, both are necessary. We can't avoid the problem, but we also need to believe that there is a solution, there is a way to fix this, because it all comes down to us being able to take action on it. That's the energy of Mars. And with the trine to Jupiter, we can feel very empowered around being able to fix things, like finally cleaning that mascara stain off your vanity so it stops bothering you every single time, or finally dusting your baseboards, or finally fixing an issue within your relationship, or what have you. I want you to know that you are powerful and you have the ability to create change within your life. You need to believe it as so. Do not be so rooted within the problems of what you're observing right now that you forget to believe in yourself and your ability to create a more beautiful tomorrow. That's described by the Aquarius full moon squaring Jupiter. And this can come to the surface individually, but also collectively. We always need to highlight with the energy of Aquarius full moon, we can be more tapped into the issues of what plagues humanity. And with Mercury opposite Saturn, we could be looking at the world and being like, oh my gosh, there's so much bad stuff happening. There's the oceans and the strikes and child labor and all of these things that are happening. And with Mercury opposite Saturn, it could be like, wow, everything sucks. But while there's truth to the severity of what it is that we're observing this week, or the issues, or what it is that we want to fix, I want you to know there's more to the story. And it's so important this week to not give up. With Mercury opposite Saturn, it could be tempting to give up, be like, there's so much wrong, why even try, why even fix this data issue, there's so much data that we missed. But I want you to know, with Mars trine Jupiter, you are more powerful than you think. Notice the details of where you feel inspired to help, whether that's collectively or within your life, and create some positive momentum forward. When you believe in your ability to create a more beautiful future, you get other people excited as well, and that can create a movement. Okay, there are so many people who came before us in time who dared to think of a different way of doing things, who dared to dream up a more beautiful tomorrow. And so many of the improvements that we've seen within humanity is because of their ability to both dream of what could be while staying rooted around what's wrong. And that's the balance that I want you to strike this week, whether you're noticing things within your world or within the world and society overall. It's so important to not avoid the data that's coming up, because with the opposition to Saturn, it might be pointing out some real arenas that need to be fixed, that need to be resolved, but also know that you are empowered to be able to create a solution, to create some positive momentum within your universe. Believe in that, believe in yourself. Please excuse the brief interruption from editing Haley, but also San Diego Haley. I am home and editing, and New York City Haley was living her truth. She was living in the moment, but she did miss an important detail, which is what editing Haley, San Diego Haley is here to let you know. I want to put it into your awareness this week to start paying attention to details, because yes, Mercury enters its pre-retrograde shadow this week. So that means that if you want something charged with new energy, if you need to launch something brand new, if you need to have an important conversation, if you need to sign an important contract, I would strive to do so before Friday, when Mercury enters its pre-retrograde shadow. Because after this Friday, Mercury will be making its way through a sector of the sky that it will eventually revisit, which we can co-create with. We can make Mercury retrograde a magical time. It does not mean the world is ending, but I do want you to know that if there is something that you want out there, you want to start something, then use Mercury retrograde to edit and refine. That would be a great usage. Start it, do it, put some energy towards it before this Friday. So we're gonna go ahead and take it into our day-by-day analysis. I just have a couple of quick notes. One being, if I mention a time, it is PDT. Even though I'm in New York right now, I'm typically on the West Coast, so it just makes it easier to relay the times in accordance to PDT. I also want to let you know there are timestamps below. If you want to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day, you have the ability to do so. There's also a gear icon. Feel free to play with the speed of how I deliver the information so that it attunes to how it is that you process information. You can speed me up, you can slow me down, whatever it is that you want. As I highlighted, Neptune is right on my Neptune line, and I have just been running late to just about everything. I am literally battling with time at all moments, and my friend Miranda and I are going to a jazz show, and I'm already kind of running late. But again, we're enjoying our coffee, we're enjoying our cosmos. I'm not in a rush, but I am going to communicate this information pretty quickly so that Miranda's not mad and we can go to the jazz show. Also, we are nearing the beginning of the month, and I want to let you know that if you are looking for ways to live in more synchrony and more alignment with the cosmos, I do have some membership options. It is called Magic Monthly. You can check it out by clicking the join button. There are different tiers. One, I make you a little digital or printable calendar that lets you know all of the astrological energies with little icons that depict what the energy is good for, mantras that you can utilize as you navigate the month ahead. And then at the Galaxies tier, I also make you a digital astrology planner that gives you detailed information on every single transit, co-creative opportunities for each if you're looking to plan ahead beyond just the week-to-week essentially snapshot that I give you every Sunday. And I also just want to say, with the new month approaching, that means that my sabbatical is over. I want to thank each and every one of you for being so kind and so understanding for my July little break. I'm telling you right now, I'm coming back to filming feeling so inspired. This trip and just the soul searching of my 12th house transits has been so helpful, so clarifying, so inspiring, honestly. And I'm so excited to return back to a consistent content schedule in order to share some of that magic with you all. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into our astrology forecast for Monday, July 31st. So good morning. Welcome to your astrology forecast for Monday, July 31st. First order of business, we are building to a full moon the following day. So I want you to know things can feel a little bit more heightened as you navigate Monday. Schedules can feel busier. Your mind can feel more restless. Your emotions can feel more intensified. Things can just feel a little bit more wacky. And it's not just astrologers who say this. Talk to EMTs, talk to bartenders. Things get a little hectic around full moon. So I want you to be graceful with yourself having that knowledge. But the emotions that are coming to the surface may not be showing up in the typical way that you would imagine via tears and tantrums, because the moon is transiting Capricorn for a majority of the day. And with the moon in the sign of its detriment, there can be a lot brewing under the surface, but we're not necessarily showing it. Or what you can be feeling building and building and getting more intense is this energy of overwhelm, is this energy of frustration, is this energy of responsibility or burden. There can be a lot that is weighing you down, perhaps under the weight of your own expectations of how much you are anticipating of yourself. And Monday morning sort of has this interesting energy with the Capricorn moon squaring Chiron in Aries, where you could be internalizing a bit or navigating through some shame. And there's an interesting energy around internalizing that weight of your unmet expectations, your unrealistic expectations, because we know with the energy of moon and Capricorn, we can expect a lot of ourselves, be very hard on ourselves. And with the moon square Chiron in Aries, you could be internalizing that shame or that guilt around what you thought you should have done, what you expected it to be, whether it's over the weekend being like, oh, I wasn't productive enough, or oh, I made that mistake, or oh, that was so weird. There's an energy in the morning time where you can wake up and already feel stressed or have pressure of the week ahead and be sort of internalizing around, how is this my life? How did I do that? How was I not productive over the weekend? We can be kind of beating ourselves up a bit, but I want you to know overall in this week, momentum is important. Get moving. Like, this is sort of morning, the astrology it is, where you're in bed stressing, maybe replaying a conversation that didn't go how you wanted it to go, maybe thinking about all of the things that you didn't do over the weekend that you should have. Maybe you're getting stressed about the upcoming week and you're just beating yourself up and internalizing and just staying within this loop within yourself where you're frozen in your own mental self-destruction. And I want to let you know there's power in momentum, because again, when we look at this week's aspects, we have Mercury, the planet of our mental space, opposing Saturn, the planet of restriction. But we have Mars, the planet of action, trining Jupiter, the planet of expansion. There's power in taking action. Even if you're in bed stressing because there's so much to do and it's so overwhelming that you can't even get to it, just get some momentum going. If your work schedule is stressing you out, start by just cleaning the vanity. Start by just cleaning the baseboard. Get some movement going. Try not to feel weighted by the pressure of your spiraling thoughts or being very hard on yourself or being very mean to yourself. Positive momentum forward is going to be magnetic this week. It's going to be powerful this week, and it's going to help you you get into a more positive mind state. Even if your work tasks are stressing you out, start with little things. Make yourself a meal. Just get some movement going. Try not to internalize and beat yourself up, because then the Capricorn moon trines Uranus. So again, there's novelty when we create some forward momentum. So on Monday, get some momentum going. If you're stressed out about that task on your to-do list that's really making you worried, that client who scares you, what have you, take on little tasks to kind of build up the courage and the momentum to handle that big one. Just get some momentum going, whether it's doing something for yourself, going for a walk before work, cleaning something. Just work yourself up little pieces and know that you are doing enough, you are enough. Do not listen to yourself trying to convince you of otherwise this week. Then later in the day, we have Capricorn moon sextiling Neptune in Pisces. And this is such a balance of the energy I was talking about in the intro, where Capricorn moon is very rooted within the reality around, okay, this is what I have to do. This is what's going on. But Neptune is the energy of fantasy. It's the energy of idealism, right? So with the Capricorn moon sextile Neptune in Pisces, it can be an energy to be able to see things from a more spiritual perspective, or maybe even see if there is a mistake uncovered this week or something that you're being very hard on yourself about. There's a potential with this energy to be able to see it from a higher perspective. For example, this is the second time I've filmed this. I actually tried to film this yesterday, but turns out my microphone was never plugged in. Love that. I'm telling you, traveling on my Neptune line, it's like things are really magical, things are really synchronistic, everything is falling into place beautifully, but I'm also doing dumb stuff like forgetting to plug in my microphone and being late to this jazz show and taking the wrong subway. Just kidding, I haven't done that yet, but I've gotten close a couple of times. But anyways, I didn't plug in the microphone and I was beating myself up for that mistake. I'm like, Haley, are you freaking kidding me? Your job is so easy. You just set up a camera. How did you mess that up? And that's the energy of Capricorn moon squaring Chiron in Aries earlier in the day, right? Around you are a failure, you are so dumb. You have this amazing opportunity and this is how you treat it, like just being so harsh on myself. But the opportunity on Monday is also, firstly, with Capricorn moon trine Uranus, get moving. Like again, I had to let it go. I had to go meet up with my friends and just let it go, right? I was still gonna live my life. I was like, whatever, I'll just do it tomorrow, not a big deal. And then with the energy of Capricorn moon sextile Neptune, it's also the paradigm shift that I was able to come to around, well, maybe that take just wasn't what needed to be delivered. Maybe there was a reason why my microphone was not plugged in. Maybe there's a particular way of how I'm sitting down and connecting with you all today that's going to be different in how I would have yesterday. Maybe there's a message that needs to be delivered that I only would tell based on the events of what's transpired within the last 24 hours. Again, is that true? Who knows? But it provides me personally solace to not think of it as a waste of time. And you can do this for your life as well. Like let's say if you are in a work mistake sort of energy, there can be energy around, wow, but I am learning from this. Spiritually, I'm learning from this. There could be energy around, oh, I hate my job, but being able to see, okay, but big picture, I'm learning these particular tasks, which will help me within the particular iteration, right? Or this situation with my crush sucks, but seeing big picture, hey, we're in this particular cycle, when in this particular loop, I'm patient, understanding all is unfolding as it should. Again, sometimes it can help to see the bigger picture of it all, and that would be something that I would encourage on Monday, because then after that, the Capricorn moon meets up with Pluto, and we know that could be energy in which we can be really intense, and this exacts at 7:13 p.m. So this could be beating yourself up for a work mistake that happened earlier in the day, not being able to compartmentalize and leave what happened at work, still panicking and stressing about it, or internalizing it quite a bit. Like I just feel like there is a reminder that I need to communicate to say, you are not your job. Okay, it is just a work mistake. You will not think about it in a year's time. I know it can feel like the end of the world. If there's a work mistake, again, that just ties into the vibe check, but maybe there's a piece of constructive criticism that you can't stop thinking about, or there's bad news that comes up, something that you're really excited about isn't gonna work out. Again, it can feel like the end of the world, and allow yourself that space to feel like it's the end of the world, but understand, big picture, it is not, okay? If you will not think about it in a year's time, it will not matter. I won't have remembered in a year's time that I didn't plug in my microphone. That won't be a memory that I have. But if I would have like stayed and like beat myself up and been like, no, you can't meet up with your friends because you have to refilm it, then I would have denied myself that opportunity of meeting up with my friends. And that's what I'm actually going to remember in a year's time, like the memories that we made last night. That's what I'm going to remember. So keep perspective, and it's not going to be easy. Like, it's a full moon building. We have the moon transiting Saturn ruled signs earlier in the week, so things can feel heavy. You could be putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And again, the emotions might not be showing up in tears and crying, but you could be just internalizing a lot of it. And I would just say, with the conjunction to the energy of Pluto, ground down into your physical body, create some separation. Remember, you cannot find the solution when you are so deeply rooted and identified within the problem. So give yourself permission, take a break, especially since after that conjunction to Pluto, the moon is void at 7:13 until it enters Aquarius, the sign of the full moon, at 8:58 p.m. So on Tuesday, the Aquarius full moon exacts at 9 degrees Aquarius with the sun at 9 degrees Leo at 11:32 a.m. PDT. And I had to check my notes because I was like, was that a typo? Because the Cancer new moon also exacted at 11:32 a.m., but it was not a typo. That's truly when both of the lunations fall. So that's fun, but let's talk about this energy of the full moon. So this full moon is in the sign Aquarius. As we talked about, Aquarius embodies many different paradoxes. It embodies the energy of both being optimistic enough to envision a more beautiful tomorrow while being pessimistic and realistic about the problems of today. A balance is needed to create genuine change, to create genuine innovation. Aquarius is sort of the energy of the realistic dreamers, right? They'll dream about solutions, about ways that the world can be better, but they're also very well rooted within the reality of the situation, and both are needed. The other paradox that Aquarius embodies is this energy of the popular loner. Aquarius is the sign of groups and of friendships, and there's power in groups, and we're seeing this within like the writer's strike. Like, just when we look throughout history, like so many things that we may take for granted in this day and time, like certain labor laws that we have in place. Again, it took people who were willing to band together to say this is not right. We believe that the world can be a more just, a more fair place than it is now. And that takes courage, and that takes being a dreamer to be able to believe in a more beautiful world. And this world will try to dampen your spirit. It'll try to take away your ability to dream, but you cannot let this world, as harsh as it can be sometimes, especially with Mercury opposite Saturn, things can be feeling really harsh, whether it's your world or your mind to yourself. But again, as harsh as things can be, you have to believe in your ability to create a more beautiful tomorrow. We have to believe as humanity that things do have the potential to get better, or else we'll just be like, what's the point? And then nothing will get done. And with this energy of Aquarius, like, it's both about feeling connected with people, because again, power in numbers, whether it's synergy within a meeting, within a group of friends, around some people who are very, very realistic and some people who are very idealistic, within a meeting, people who understand the severity of the problem, people who are dreaming of the future. Like, again, that synergy, there's power within it. But also there's power in being able to look at a collective and be like, I don't necessarily resonate, or I feel somewhat different, because that's the balance that Aquarius navigates, right? It is a sign of friendship. So oftentimes when you connect with Aquarians, they are very friendly, they're easy to get along with, but there is this sensation from an Aquarius placement to the Aquarius placements, there is this sensation around feeling fundamentally a little different than people around you. And that's something important to honor and to chisel this week, is both honoring and celebrating the communities and the friendships that see you, that you feel aligned with, where you feel like-minded in some ways, but also honoring the ways that you don't totally fit in, right? It's okay to not adhere to the status quo. It's okay to be different, because again, just as there's power in numbers and banding together, there's also power in people who are willing to separate themselves from the collective, to be like, hey, there's a problem here, right? To step out of that group think around, this is normal, this is just what we do, to be like, this isn't right. Like, we can do things better. We can be more just. We can be more humanitarian. We can have better labor practices. It takes people who are willing to be weird, who are willing to break the mold in order to create and enact genuine change. And I want you to embrace that. Like, yes, embrace the communities, whether it's online, your friendships, whatever. Embrace the connections that you have where you do feel like-minded, you do feel seen by them, but also honor the ways that you don't fit in. It's okay to feel different than those around you. And I think the energy of Aquarius placements, the reason it's a popular loner is because they can feel very connected to the collective, but also very distant from it as well. And I do tend to find that Aquarius placements, they're sort of meant to feel like the outcast or on the outside looking in, in order to attract the other, weirdos or eccentrics or people who also didn't feel like they fit in, right? And to embrace those parts of you of what make you different, to rebel in the ways that make sense. And with this full moon, it squares Jupiter in Taurus. And like we talked with Aquarius, it has to do with humanitarian causes and issues and humanity overall. And the square to Jupiter asks us to be optimistic about what could happen. And again, I know things feel heavy. With Mercury opposite Saturn, there could be a lot of bad news. There could be a lot that's weighing your mind, a lot you're beating yourself up about. But this full moon asks us, how is it that we can believe that things are getting better? How can we allow our actions and our efforts create positive momentum forward? How can we step out as a leader within our communities, within our lives, in order to inspire other people that they are able to create change as well? Because without getting too deep with it, I'll just let you know that there are a lot of forces out there that want you to feel hopeless, that want you to feel that there's nothing that you can do, that you just need to be resigned to the normal ways that things are done. But I also want you to know, yes, you won't be able to, solve the housing crisis and all of these things overnight, but don't give up on your ability to make some sort of difference or to help in your own particular way. It's so important to believe that this world can get better for us to be able to create a more beautiful world, right? It took the revolutionaries and the rebels who came before us, it took them being able to say, hey, this is the normal way that things are done, but I believe that we can create a more fair, a more just world. And that takes courage. That takes being willing to be seen as weird. That takes being willing to break the mold. And that takes being a dreamer, right? With this Aquarius full moon squaring Jupiter, whether it's collectively being like, there can be a more just world than this. There can be a world in which there is not litter everywhere. There can be a world in which everybody is housed and fed. Like, again, this can feel out there, Looney Tunes, but again, it's not a week of just dreaming about it. It's also staying rooted within reality and finding practical ways. So it can come up collectively, but also within your world. Like, you can be feeling really stuck by a certain stifling relationship or a certain stifling job or areas of your life that are not how you want them to do, but I don't want you to feel resigned to them. Believe in your ability to be able to create results. Believe in your ability to be able to create a change. Believe, dream, and vision. That's what this full moon is asking you. And I feel this important to communicate, maybe just for one person out there. So let me know if it's you, comment below. But I want you to know that you are not flawed. You are not weird for the ways that you are and for what lights you up. And I say this because the sun is in Leo, which speaks to our heart space. The moon is in Aquarius, which speaks to, where we don't fit in with the crowd, but also the crowds that we do align with. And the square to Jupiter is where it is that we are growing into Taurian themes, abundance and stability. And I just want to express with you, if you ever feel on the outside looking in, if you ever feel fundamentally different than other people, I want you to perhaps utilize this Jupiterian optimism to believe that there are people out there that you will connect with, that you will align yourself with. For me, I'm Aquarius placement, so this has definitely been part of my journey. For me, I used to find it very hard to connect with people. Like, I was on a very conventional path career-wise, and it was very hard for me to connect with my colleagues. And a lot of times I felt like I was cosplaying as a regular human being. I was like, why do I feel so fundamentally different than these people? And again, it's no shade. It's not me saying that I'm better than them. There just wasn't any resonance. And I felt like a literal alien. I swear, part of the Aquarius experience is feeling like an alien sometimes, because you're like, I don't understand this. I don't understand you guys. I'm trying to pretend, but I don't get it. I don't get it. And I kind of just felt like that's how I would navigate life. Obviously, there was outliers of people that I genuinely did connect with, but it was very rare. It was a lot of experiences where I could talk surface level, I could spend time with them, but I didn't really genuinely feel seen. And I didn't start to feel more and more resonance really until I fully stepped into astrology, honestly. It's so wild to feel seen after so long of not feeling seen. I think part of it is because I'm embodying my weirdness, right? With the Aquarius full moon, like astrology was something that I really hid. So it's like, obviously I wasn't finding resonance with individuals. I wasn't even really exposing my heart or really allowing myself to be seen within my fullness. No wonder I didn't feel genuine connection with others. I was fundamentally hiding parts of myself. And it wasn't until I fully let my passion shine that I began to really find a lot of resonance. And it's such a wild feeling after feeling on the outside looking in for so long, to feel connected to other people and to have so much resonance with other souls. It's such a special experience. And I also just feel like, you know, within the astrology community, I guess that's just my people, maybe. Maybe that's just my people, right? That's my community. I just like did not know what to say. I did not know how to human. I constantly felt like I had to try and pretend, and it was just, I had to put on a performance to like try to be normal. And it's so wild to be in a community where I feel like I not only have permission to be myself, but I also get to celebrate the weirdness within other individuals. It's so special. So I just want to say, if you're feeling disheartened where like you're going to school right now and you don't necessarily connect with the people around you, or you are working at a workplace where you're like looking at these people like, are these people aliens or am I the alien? Because I don't get y'all. I do not understand you all. Maybe this full moon is asking you to be optimistic that you can connect. You can attract friends that do feel aligned. You can find groups and communities that you do feel at synchronicity, where you don't have to perform for, where there's just natural connection, natural resonance. It does exist for you. I think that's part of the Aquarius energy, is going through life feeling like the outside looking in order to attract, you know, groups and communities of fellow weirdos or eccentrics or outcasts or people who also didn't fit into the mold, right? And for us to be able to have that freedom to be ourselves, to let our freak flag fly. And if that's not part of your reality currently, believe in a future where that is possible for you, because it is possible for you. And I just want to say, I completely get it, how isolating it can feel to feel fundamentally so different from the people that you are surrounded by. And that makes it even sweeter to be in a stage in my life when with my friendships, with the people that I work with, where that is that resonance, where there is that connection. It is not something that I take for granted, because it was something that I did not feel as easily and as readily for so many years of my life. So please believe in a future where that is possible for you, because it is. And sorry, the angle changed. I had to change out the battery. But the last note I want to say on that is, if you are in that energy that I was talking about, where you just fundamentally don't feel super connected to the people around you, you're like, our priorities are different. I feel like I have to perform or be different in order to fit in with you all. I just want to let you know that sometimes your passions can be such a clue. That's why I think it's so pure. Things such as like stan culture, like people who love certain celebrities, or people who love video games or love cosplaying or whatever. Like, a lot of times you can feel that energy of resonance when you do follow your passions, right? And a lot of people can look at those hobbies or those interests, astrology, for example, they can look at it as something weird, but again, it's something that lights you up, the Leo sun. And when we think about the sun, you know, it glows, it shines within its pureness, and the other planets revolve around it. Like, I think we can attract like-minded individuals towards us when we do follow our passions around what lights you up. It's not to say every single friend and every single group that you're connected to, you all need to like the same things, but I will say that was something that helped me tap into a community that I do feel super aligned with, was following my interest of astrology. So if you are in a time of your life where you are feeling kind of disconnected, don't totally know where you belong, I will say your passions can be clues. Finding other people who are passionate about that as well can facilitate some genuine connections. So I just want to highlight that. Also on Tuesday, we have Mercury opposite Saturn. So I do want to let you know that Mercury is now in Virgo, the sign of its exaltation. That happened last week, and I was having FOMO not being here with you guys, talking you through all the celestial energies. But I just want to let you know, with Mercury in Virgo, as I was highlighting earlier, we're picking up a lot of details. And with Mercury and Virgo opposing Saturn and Pisces, there's something that we are uncovering, or a mental loop, a mental story, something that we're not liking, something that is making us feel more blocked. Again, this could be energy around doom scrolling and really tuned into all of the things that are going wrong within the world. This could be an energy around just stuck in your own head, beating yourself up off truly inconsequential details. That's what's so frustrating about being a Virgo placement, is that when you zero in on all the details of everything that's happening around you, some of the details can be helpful, catching, you know, typos before you send out a presentation, attuning to subtle color differences when you're designing something for your website. But some of these details that you catch are not helpful at all, and it just overloads your brain with all of this data and all of these little things that you're tuned into that nobody would ever know. So again, it's important to have perspective this week with Mercury in Virgo opposite Saturn and Pisces. Pisces, you could be tearing out your hair, trying to make something just right, stressing yourself out. Again, perspective is necessary. Will this truly impact the big picture, or am I stressing myself out under the weight of my own expectations? And I want to highlight that because the energy of Virgo, it is about perfection. And we live in an imperfect world. And it can be stressful to be expecting perfection from yourself and others in a world that is fundamentally messy and imperfect, and things are wrong, right? But I don't want you to identify with it. I don't want you to internalize any feelings of shame or guilt, because that's why the energy of Virgo is tied to this energy of shame or guilt. Because again, it's craving perfection, wanting perfection, and then when you have such high expectations, you naturally aren't going to live up to that ideal of perfection. So it just feels like with Mercury opposite Saturn, there can be some perfectionism getting in the way. Again, sometimes you could be so dialed into minute details, like, oh my gosh, the punctuation marks in this presentation are slightly smaller than they were in Exhibit A. Like, again, if that's going to take you 12 more hours on a detail that no one will matter, maintain perspective. Done is better than perfect sometimes, okay? And with Mercury opposite Saturn, if you are just being so hard on yourself over these details, like, it's deeply important to take a step out of it. Okay, we cannot expect perfection in an imperfect world, and you're gonna stress yourself out trying. Trust me, I've been trying all of the years that I've been alive, and I've been failing all of the years that I've been alive, because that's just not what being a human is about. So just being mindful of perspective. Like I said, this is the ouch aspect, in that we can be receiving some news that's a little ouch. Somebody telling us something that it's like, ooh, that was not what I wanted to hear. Maybe we asked for feedback at work and someone really kept it real around, that was not very good. Was that valuable information? Yes, but it hurt nonetheless. Like, this is a bad news energy where it's just like an ouch. But again, extract the data and keep it moving. And I do mean keep it moving, because Mars trine Jupiter also exacts on the same day. Like I said, there's power in momentum this week. There's power in momentum this week. Again, there's things that are weighing you down, okay, with Mercury opposite Saturn, areas of yourself that you're being really hard on yourself about, bad news that you got that you can't stop thinking about. There's things that are weighing you down, but with Mars trine Jupiter, know that there's power in momentum. Even if you haven't built your way up to handling the big problem, handle little problems until you're in the flow to be able to build up the courage in order to handle the big problem. Do things that make you feel empowered. Go after what it is that you want. And furthermore, believe that you are somebody who is able to exact change within your life. Change happens to those who believe that it can happen to them. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what it is that you've been getting. And with Mars trine Jupiter, it empowers you to ask, okay, what are the details that I do have control over? Because again, there's a lot of things we do not have control over, and we're going to stress ourselves out if we're trying to make everything perfect and orderly and aligned all of the time, right? But with Mars trine Jupiter, it's not saying give up and just do everything sloppy, and have the energy of Virgo. Create work that you are proud of. Do things that you are proud of. Spotlight errors if they do need to be improved or what have you. It's not saying you should give up and just be like, well, if it can't be perfect, I don't want to do it at all. With Mars and Virgo trining Jupiter, Virgo is the sign of details. So break things down to the details and focus on the things that you can control. You might be like, okay, big picture, what's bumming me out this week is that, my relationship looks like this. Maybe that's the bad news with Mercury opposite Saturn. I want this, but it's not aligning, or it's not making sense for my life, or what have you, and it's this big problem that could be stressing you out that you can't necessarily fix overnight. But with Mars trine Jupiter, it's basically asking, what can you do? What can you take into your hands? Can you work on your communication? Can you plan a date? Virgo is all about the little things, and the little things aren't so little. Those little things do build up to a big thing. So rather than being so overwhelmed that you're like, I just give up altogether, break it down into details around, okay, I can't fix my relationship overnight, but I can plan these particular things. Okay, I can't fix this work problem right away, but I can plan this particular meeting and start brainstorming. Like, notice the details that you do have in your hand and just build some action towards it. For some of you, this might be with Mars trine Jupiter, this might be moving your body if your mind is stressing you out. I would say on Tuesday, move your body, okay? Something that's been really consistent in most of the entrepreneurs that I have worked with is that most of them have regular exercise routines. And I don't think it's about necessarily a physical aesthetic thing. I think it's just this energy around when you commit to regularly moving your body, you are committing to being better. You are committing to every day showing up, being a little bit stronger, being able to go up more steps, being able to do more teasers and Pilates. Like every single day you notice in microscopic ways that change is happening, and it makes you feel more stronger and more empowered to take those shifts that you're observing during the workout and take it beyond the workout, right? Transcend it. If I was able to move from only being able to do 5 teasers in Pilates just a year ago to doing 20 now, what does that mean if I regularly invest energy in my business? How far could I take it? Like again, it just helps you realize that these little ways that we show up for ourselves, it does pay off over time. And again, with the Mercury opposite Saturn, it could be the energy around why even bother? Teasers and Pilates are so hard. Why even go to a class? Again, in microscopic ways, it won't happen overnight, but in microscopic ways, you are getting better. You are seeing growth. You are seeing improvement. I also want to say that working out can be, I mean, this isn't the workout channel, but I just want to say it can be so good for your mental health. That is the main reason I work out, is just for my mind. And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs do as well. Like firstly, I take a lot of fitness classes, and it's so nice to have somebody else to tell me what to do. Every so often, because when you're running your own business, you're like, I don't know what to do. So it's nice to go to a class and like have somebody who's like telling me to breathe and to think happy thoughts. I'm like, oh my gosh, I needed that. But also it just floods your brain with happy chemicals that allows you to be able to see things differently, right? Like, so if you are stuck at work and you're looking at your computer trying to fix something, and you're like, I don't have time to take a walk. Take a walk, because you view things differently after you have those happy chemicals swimming within your brain. Sometimes it can stimulate new creativity. Again, you never find the solution where you find the problem. Sometimes it does take perspective. So that's one application of Mars trine Jupiter. You can notice you're feeling more energized. There can be problems coming up, but I feel for some of you, you can feel more energized to want to take them on, want to be able to handle them. Again, see where you can view what's coming up. It's just use it as data. It's not saying anything personally about you, right? It's not saying in the vibe check that the data issue was fundamentally your fault. It's not saying that this relationship issue is fundamentally your fault. It's not saying that this bad news or this constructive criticism is your fault. It's just data. It's just information. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to take action towards it? Resist the temptation to want to stay in your own head, beating yourself up. Take momentum, even if that means solving the problem or maybe just doing something else. Just get moving, okay? Get out of your head. Get into this experience. Also with Mars trine Jupiter, this can be a positive energy to advocate for yourself, as Mars is essentially fighting for what it is that we want. With the trine to Jupiter, we can find good results when we do advocate, when we do stand up for ourselves. And again, focus on win-win. Focus on win-win if possible with the trine to Jupiter. But this can be an energy if there is an arena where there's a certain detail of something, a certain line in a contract, or a certain issue within your relationship that you're like, okay, this isn't right. I need to advocate for myself here. This also can be supportive as well. So my advice with Mars trine Jupiter, know that you do have things in your hand. You do have the opportunity to create change. Firstly, you need to believe that you can create change. And secondly, you need to take the action in order to get there. And it might be slow and steady. Let's keep it real. Jupiter is in Taurus, okay, and Mars is in Virgo. These are not energies where things happen overnight. It takes to get the 20 teasers and Pilates. It takes showing up to your mat to get the results that you want in business. It takes showing up consistently and having delayed gratification. Things take time, but with Mars trine Jupiter, it's asking you, can you believe in your ability to create improvements within your world? Can you believe in your ability to create change within your world? That's what this aspect is asking you. On Wednesday, the 2nd, is very much the rebel day, okay? It's very much a playing hooky day. Now, this is not Haley Comet endorsing playing hooky. But all I'm saying is that there can be a huge temptation to do so, because there's definitely a really rebellious energy, and that's a fundamental part of Aquarius energy, right? Because we need to be a rebel in order to create change, both within ourselves and within society. Again, there's like a conventional path, and it takes being a rebel to create something different for yourself, to be like, I see what y'all want me to do, and I'm just going to pick something different because that does not make sense to me, and I'm not going to fit into that mold, and I'm going to create something differently because it won't align for me. It simply will not work for me. And whether that's like society is not right. Like, this is not going to work. We need to rebel against this. Like, I'm not going to listen to rules that fundamentally do not make sense to me. But also personally, around maybe there are certain expectations that are on you, or a certain conventional path that you're being pressured to take. And this is the energy to be empowered by your ability to rebel, by your energy to trailblaze, to create something new. But how I think this will manifest, and why I say hooky, is because then the Aquarius moon opposes Venus. So it's like this energy of rebellion with the square to Uranus around, I just want to do my own thing. Could be hard to focus. If somebody's trying to give you tasks at work, you could be like, why don't you do it yourself? Like, it's definitely a little bit rebellious. We want to do our own thing, be our own person. With the opposition of Venus and Leo, we just want to have fun. So you could be sitting at your desk doing spreadsheets, being like, I am a human being on this planet, and here I am doing spreadsheets. Like, I should be frolicking underneath the sunshine. Like, something is wrong with this picture. Again, with the square to Uranus, it is saying, like, observe the ways that your current experience do not fit the person that you are. Like, I don't think anyone can necessarily frolic in the sunshine all day long, their entire existence, right? Maybe that's a limiting belief on my end, but I don't think that's necessarily possible. But maybe there can be genuine insight extracted. Like, again, with Mercury opposite Saturn happening the prior day, it's the energy around this sucks. And sometimes you need to embrace that it sucks. You're sitting inside on a beautiful day doing spreadsheets, and it's like, this sucks. But also find ways that you can improve your situation around, okay, this sucks. I wish I had a job in which I had more time during the day. How can I create change, right? It's not staying in the this sucks. It's using the, well, this sucks as contrast around, this is what I want and this is how I'm moving towards it, right? I'm not just going to complain that I don't like my job, and I'm not going to complain about this work mistake or what have you. I'm going to observe, this objectively sucks, this is not what I want my experience to be, but also take action towards improving it, towards fixing it, towards building my own business so that I don't have to be there, or getting a night job, or whatever contrast you're observing within your experience. Like, there's something where it's like, well, this sucks, but don't just stay in the this sucks and throw yourself a pity party. You can observe that this sucks, but take things into your own hands around, how am I creating a solution, or moving towards a solution, or moving towards an improved way of being. And the moon is void at 2:15 p.m. So all in all, on Wednesday, it's just not the most productive day. I would avoid having major projects or deadlines on that day because you may not be very productive. And then the moon enters Pisces at 8:05 p.m. So that's a long void moon. So you can find that you are more rebellious, wanting to do your own thing, wanting to play hooky, not necessarily focused, anything of that nature. And with the moon enters Pisces, you have a one-way ticket straight into the feels. We had 2 Saturn ruled signs, right? And now the moon is no longer full, right? It's beginning to wane, it's beginning to shed light, but emotions can still be intensified. And now with the energy of Pisces, we could be feeling it all. Like, when the moon's transiting Saturn ruled signs, we're more likely to logicize it or try to understand it, or the emotions that we're feeling could be manifesting in overwhelm and burden and responsibility. But when the moon enters Pisces, you could just crave wanting to cry about it, which is okay. Embrace the emotions however they come to the surface this week. You know what Thursday, August 3rd's astrology reminds me of? Thursday, August 3rd's astrology reminds me of having a really lovely dream and then having an alarm wake you up. And it's not just an alarm, it's like an alarm at 5:30 before like a packed day of work. And you're like, oh, I just want to stay within my happy dream. So the dream within this example is the Pisces moon, right? Because as I highlighted, Pisces moon is very, very sensitive. It's very emotional. And fundamentally, it wants to escape. And that's why in the vibe check I was saying, like, you want to avoid this, right? Once you uncover something, you can't not know that thing. Once you receive that bit of bad news or receive that constructive criticism, you can't rewind time and try to not face it, right? What's done is done, what's known is known, and it's in your hands to improve it. But there's a temptation on Thursday of wanting to run away from it, of wanting to stay within the dream and not wake up for your 5:30 alarm and get to your busy day of work, right? Wanting to stay in the dream, wanting to stay in dreamland where nothing can hurt you and there's no tasks on your plate, right? Pisces moon is just being snapped from its reverie left and right on Thursday, because right in the morning, it conjoins Saturn. So again, there's pressure, there's weight, there's a lot to do. Pisces moon just wants to dream and feel, but with the conjunction to Saturn, it's like, there's no time to dream or feel. There was a huge issue uncovered at work, or there's a lot of tasks on your to-do list. So you do not have time to cry in the closet like you want to. You do not have time to take a nap. You do not have time to escape from your problems. You got to handle this right here, right now. And then the Pisces moon bickers with Mercury in Virgo. It also bickers with Mars in Virgo oppositions later in the day, which could just be making us feel frustrated. We could just want to run away from our problems. We could want to run away from the details that are being extracted. We could want to run away from our own perfectionism, right? And like I said, it is helpful to run away from perfectionism every so often. Like, again, be mindful where it is that you're stressing yourself out over needless details that nobody else would notice, right? Like, I could have not even filmed right now because I couldn't find the little thing that goes in the microphone. Like, I do apologize if the audio quality is bad. I also broke a nail and it's just driving me crazy. If you're a Virgo placement, you know how frustrating that could be when little things are off. It just bothers you and you keep thinking about it, right? But with the energy of Pisces moon is about dissolving into the big picture. So the best way to navigate Thursday is finding this balance within the two, because they really have a lot to teach one another. Like Pisces moon can like teach the Virgo, Mercury, and Mars, which are quite neurotic, right? And detail oriented. Like, not all details matter. Just like chill out. It's just a work issue. It's just this. It's not the end of the world. It's all good in the grand scheme of things. Whereas the Virgo placements can snap the Pisces moon out of its desire to run and hide around, no, we can't run and hide. We need to handle things here within our reality. So like navigating the two around, it's not that big a deal, but then again, also handle what is coming up. Navigate the two. But I will say there could be frustrations brewing, whether it's with coworkers or frustrated with yourself or having a work issue that makes you want to cry. This day's astrology also reminds me of that energy where, let's say you had like a really bad day at work, right? Really bad day at work, all day long, people are coming to you with problems and issues, and then you get home and your partner's like, hey babe, like the dishwasher's not working, and that's just like the final straw. You're just like, I can't do this, like I can't listen to this, like I just need to tune this out, and your partner's like, what the heck, I just told you the dishwasher was broken, I wasn't trying to stress you out more, but again, your mind was already so overloaded that that final thing is what made you cry and what made you feel overwhelmed. Like Thursday's sort of that energy where we can be stressing ourselves out about details, that's all the Virgo energy, and with the Pisces moon getting kind of emotional about it around, this is so much, how can someone do this? So again, navigating the two, find ways to improve and show up for your reality, that's the Virgo placements, but also find ways to find perspective. At the end of the day, it's just a broken dishwasher. At the end of the day, it's just some data that was not captured. At the end of the day, it's just a snag in your relationship or whatever it is that you're navigating this week. It's like, find perspective, like show up for the details as they are illuminated to you, but also find perspective, because not all of the details that are being illuminated are of equal importance, and that's important to tune into. And it's not that Thursday is all bad, because the Pisces moon does sextile its ruler, Jupiter and Taurus. So again, there can be some energy where we're finding perspective, we're feeling optimistic about ways that are going, we're finding this balance within the two. So I just want to give you those up levels of how you can navigate Thursday, but I will let you know you can be feeling a little bit more emotional, overwhelmed, stressed out by needless details. But again, navigate the two. So on Friday, it would be my recommendation to avoid meetings with lots of people, or meeting with that client who always stresses you out, or going places that are very crowded and loud and overwhelming, because I'm just letting you know, energetically, you can be dialed up a bit. And that's because the Pisces moon does meet up with Neptune around 4 p.m. And what this does is it can kind of weaken our boundaries a little bit, because the energy of Neptune and the energy of Pisces really is to dissolve into our surroundings. So you could be taking on people's emotions that are not yours. If you're in crowded environments, it could be overwhelming for you. It's really wild being here in New York City, because I was here in September as well. And the first night in September, I think I told this story, but the first night that I got here, I sobbed just because I was so overstimulated, because obviously there's so many people here. It's so quicker pace. You really have to know where it is that you're going. You have to have your bearings about you. You need to be dialed in, right? And as somebody who's very, very sensitive, I was like taking on all of these people's emotions. I would be in crowded environments and just overly tapped into other people. Bring the focus back to yourself. If anybody else gets really overstimulated around crowds, around lots of people, because you're like taking on other people's emotions, like sometimes I'll literally be at parties and people will be like, do you need something to eat? Or like, are your shoes too tight? Or what have you, like asking questions. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know. I was like so out of body, tuned into all of these people's experiences, that I was not even rooted within my physical, vessel, right? And my best advice is if you do go into an environment that is overwhelming or busy, just strive to remain embodied. Do things that make you feel grounded within your physical vessel, and also know that other people's emotions are not yours to manage. Have energetic ways of protecting yourself. To finish off that New York City story, I was just going to say, in September, I was very overwhelmed. I hadn't really developed a lot of energetic maintenance strategies. And this trip, I've been so much better, because I've been really, really diligent about energetically taking care of myself and energetically sealing off my energy and protecting my boundaries. And I'm telling you, this trip has felt like a spa retreat. Like, I've been feeling so calm, even though there's been stressful situations. I'm just handling what's real and in front of me. I'm not taking things on for other people. Obviously, like, I'm helping my friends when need be, but I just remember last trip, I was just so worried about everything and tapping into like, is everybody having fun? Is everybody good? Is everything okay? Is everybody on the subway okay? Is that person okay? Like, I was just everywhere, right? And that's the energy of Pisces, to just sort of dissolve. And that's why there's so many artists and creators who are Pisces, because they can feel other people's stuff and just, it's their nature to go into environments and almost just like become it by osmosis. But that's not always helpful, especially on Friday. Okay, so if you do have to go into an environment where you're like, I don't want to pick up that mean client's energy, I don't want to get so overstimulated at this event that I don't even know what to say, right? I would just say seal off your energy on Friday. Up levels of Neptune. Neptune energy can feel very confusing. It can feel very mystifying. Sorry to keep talking about it, but this city is on my Neptune line, and Neptune energy is so weird because there's moments where it's so synchronistic and so magical and things snap into place and you get an insane hotel at such an affordable price, and right when you get down to the subway it arrives and we're going to this jazz show, and tomorrow I'm going to a Broadway show where I got like really cheap tickets. Like things are just opening and aligning and snapping into place. And that could be Neptune energy. It's like synchronicity, things snapping into place when they need to. But there's also been moments of a lot of confusion, of not being able to make up my mind around what do I need to eat, or like what do I need right now, or what am I doing right now. That's always what's interesting about solo traveling, is that there's like so many decisions to make. Like when I was spending time with my friends last week, they kind of lead. And like when I'm by myself, like I have to lead, which is nice and I can do it. But with the energy of the Pisces moon meeting up with Neptune, we could be like looking for direction, just like confused, like help, what should I do? Which, like I was saying, even though I love being a business owner and getting to decide my own destiny and the projects I want to work on, sometimes I do love going to fitness class where someone tells me what to do. Sometimes it could be nice to just turn your brain off, just be like, okay, I'll do whatever you say. You say breathe? Sure. You say do a teaser? Sure, I'll do that. So all I'm saying is that Neptune energy can be confusing. It could be mystifying. There could be moments around feeling so aligned. There could be moments around feeling so sad, honestly, with Neptune energy. Your sadness, other people's sadness. Moments of feeling so inspired. Seeing beautiful museums or seeing a beautiful movie where you just want to crawl inside and become it because you're so moved by it. That's all Neptune energy. It's everything at once. It's a mirage. It's emotion. Some people feel it as sleepiness. So all I want to say with the moon on Neptune, there can be this otherworldly sort of dreamy energy baked into your day. It can feel confusing. You could be feeling more lazy. Know that the moon's on Neptune, so just protect your energy if you have to be around places that are very loud or overwhelming or have a lot of detail work or anything of that nature. So that conjunction lands at 4 p.m., but it is in the midst of two supportive sextiles. The Pisces moon sextiles Uranus and Taurus, so in the morning time, so it can be feeling very creative. And then the Pisces moon sextiles Pluto and Capricorn. So remember your power, okay? It's totally natural to feel confused sometimes or to want direction from other people, right? Like there are moments this week I've been mostly like on my own, which is what I wanted, right? There's been moments where I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know what to do. Like I've been, forgetting to eat. Like it's hard to make decisions for yourself sometimes. But with the sextile to Pluto and Capricorn, it's reminding yourself like you are the captain of your ship. You are the master of your fate. You can have those moments of feeling lost and feeling helpless. I'm just seeing a vision in my mind's eye of like, a fish. Pisces is the fish, kind of skittering about, feeling lost. They kind of swim over here and they swim over here. But the sextile to Pluto and Capricorn, it's like understanding you are powerful, right? It's natural to crave direction, but you can provide your own direction, right, as well. You don't need somebody else to give it to you. And if you do need direction, take direction from God, take direction from your spirit team, like pray about it seriously with the Pisces moon conjoining Neptune. You can ask for a sign, you can ask for guidance. If you're into cards, you can pull some cards. You can pray to your angels, you can pray to your spiritual support team. Like Friday would be such a lovely day if you are feeling a little bit lost or that you're craving direction. Open it up to spirit, open it up to God, open it up to your angels. Like Friday is a really lovely day, if possible, to relax, to meditate, to tap in, to be around places that you want to soak in, places like nature, places of love where you want to dissolve into your environment. You want to become your environment because it's such a place of peace and of calm. That would be my advice for navigating Friday. And then the moon will be void at 6:21 p.m. until it enters Aries at 8:19 p.m. So do strive to get a bulk of your productive tasks done earlier in the day. But I will say Moon Neptune is best for creative, spiritual sort of tasks. You just watched someone teleport from New York City to San Diego in a mere moment. Aquarius full moon. Look at these technological developments coming through. I'm so sorry. It's late here. It's silly girl hours. Not what I'm here to tell you at all. I just want to let you know that Friday is when Mercury enters its pre-retrograde shadow. Mercury retrograde is on the horizon. What does that mean? That means as of Friday, we are entering yellow light territory when it comes to anything new. a brand new idea. Now it's a optimal time to go back into the idea graveyard, pull out some ideas where it's like, well, I have started this poem, or like I have launched this offering. This is an optimal time to refine, optimize, edit. That's going to be a huge theme of this Mercury retrograde, with Mercury in its exaltation of Virgo, is really going back to dial into the details of ongoing projects in order to make them the best that they can possibly be. So if it's something that's already been in the works or out there in some way, you're totally fine, but be mindful where you get an idea, like a brand new idea. Because when Mercury is in its pre-retrograde shadow, it may be an energy that needs to be refined and dialed in. And so I just want you to be conscious of moving from this point onward, of keeping your schedule like super, super packed, like going from thing to thing to thing, as well as be overly on top of your organization, be overly on top of your schedule, be gentle with technology, double check everything, every communication that goes out at this time. Use this Mercury in Virgo, discerning gaze, watch those typos, okay? Pay attention to the details from here on out, as well as just observe, what are you thinking about? What's on your mind? Like, when we talk about Mercury in its pre-retrograde shadow, we can also utilize it as sort of a foreshadow around what our Mercury retrograde will be about. So what are you feeling called to edit? What are you feeling called to organize? What are you feeling called to analyze? That can be a part of your Mercury retrograde story, as well as paying attention to the important conversations that you're having this week, what's on your mind this week, what problems are you solving this week. That's going to be huge with Mercury opposing Saturn and then entering its pre-retrograde shadow. What comes up this week may need to be reviewed, so journal about it, pay attention. So on Saturday the 5th, the Aries moon will trine the Leo sun, which marks the official waning gibbous moon, which is also called the disseminating moon, which is super powerful for connecting and sharing and mentoring. It's all about the conclusion has been reached. That was the energy of the full moon on Tuesday. And now it's about giving back and sharing and reconnecting with who it is that you are and feeling free. It's so interesting, our relationship to freedom sometimes, because, you know, with the prior day, there can be sensations, not saying this will manifest for everybody, but sometimes with Neptune energy, we can want direction, right? We can feel lost. We can have freedom. Like for me, I've had this whole week free, and there were moments of being like, what do I do? Like there's so many options that I don't even know what to do. And you can feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of freedom at your disposal, being like, I don't know what to do. Am I even capable of being in this city alone? But this is sort of energy around reconnecting with who it is that you are, around, I can navigate this city alone, and I can lead and direct my own life, and I can take care of myself, and I can get what it is that I need. Like, embrace those moments when you do feel lost or confused. It's all part of the journey. But Saturday is the day to remind yourself who you are. Okay, remind yourself who you are and feel inspired to feel free within your world, to see new places, to connect with new people, to share and to create. Like, this is a very creative essence, maybe not in the traditional way, but I will say it's very anchored in self. Aries moon is very raw, it's very authentic, and Leo sun is the heart center, right? It's what lights us up. So this is sort of a day to create things that just light you up, that just make you happy, that express who exactly it is that you are, and to feel empowered sharing it. Like, maybe for you, the story with the Aquarius full moon is like having this idea for your business that's a little weird, a little innovative, and on Saturday feeling empowered around, you know, not everybody will understand it, but it feels good to me. Like, you know, if anybody else is an entrepreneur or works for themselves, you know this energy around, sometimes you could be like, oh, I don't know what to do. There's so much opportunity. I don't know what I should, you know, do a video on or create an Etsy product of, or what have you. There can be so much opportunity to feel frozen, but the best advice is to follow what it is that lights you up. Like, I only post something if I'm so stoked on it. If it makes me super happy. Like, that's the indication. There have been things that I've created that I've literally deleted, not because I was like being a perfectionist and getting my own way. I mean, a couple have been deleted because of that, but because it wasn't lighting me up. And if I'm not excited, that's not going to be magnetic. It's not going to excite other people as well. So like on social media, on YouTube, like I only post things where I'm like, this was a fun moment that I loved capturing and I love to share me when I'm in moments that I enjoy. You know, people can have their own opinions about it, but I don't really care. So long as it's anchored in this idea around I had fun creating it, that's where I'll be the most magnetic. Maybe you feel that within an offering of your business or within a short story that you want to write around this energy around, I don't know who will want to read this, but all I know is that I had fun creating it. Like, that can be powerful data. That can be the compass that you need of the direction that you need to go in. Try not to overthink it. Like, the energy of Aries moon is to not back down from the challenge and to allow yourself and your rawness to be the guiding light, right? That's going to be important with North Node transiting Aries. And are we feeling ourselves a lot over the weekend? We are. Okay, I'll talk more about that. The next day is when Sun squares Jupiter. So we're feeling ourselves, right? And can we overdo it? We can. We'll talk about it. But I will say, if you are somebody who's been waiting to just feel more confident, to feel more sure of yourself, I think over the weekend you're going to start to feel that. You're going to feel more confident and feel more empowered. Like, some people might take it to an extreme, right? Be a little boastful, be a little prideful. But again, for the souls who you have been waiting to genuinely believe in yourself and put yourself out there and to expect good things just by being the person that you are and sharing what lights you up, this weekend is going to be powerful to tap into that. So on Sunday, as I highlighted, there can be some bravado over the weekend, and that's because the Leo sun squares Jupiter in Taurus, and you can navigate souls who are pretty egocentric over the weekend, who do have an inflated sense of self or have delusions of grandeur. Like, Sun is ego, and with a square to Jupiter, you could be dealing with some big egos over the weekend, which, like I said, can have positive effects for those who have been struggling to feel confident, struggling to feel sure of themselves. Like, this weekend's going to be great for you to be able to be like, for me to co-create the reality that I want, to believe in the future that I want to create, I need to firstly believe in myself in order to get there. I need to believe in my creations. I need to believe in what lights me up. That's where this energy is going to be really good. But when it comes to clients or people on the road, people can be kind of like peacocking a little bit or kind of like puffing up their chest, like kind of on this very important high horse. And so just see it for what it is and keep it moving. Okay, I think more than anything, we're wanting to share who it is that we are. So can this energy be taken to an excess and we have to deal with people who have this swelled sense of importance that is beyond the confines of reality? Absolutely. But I also want you to know, sometimes it's good to feel yourself, okay? Sometimes it's good to listen to music that makes you feel confident and empowered, and to post whatever it is that makes you feel confident and empowered, okay? If somebody tries to tell you that you are full of yourself, say, I am quite literally full of myself. I am embodied within this experience. This is who I am. This is what I want to share. And that's that, okay? It is better to have a slightly inflated sense of self than not seeing your true worth. It is better to hold yourself to a higher standard than a lower one, in my belief. And Sunday is interesting because there's also moon aspects that kind of give this energy where any sense of bravado or people trying to tell you, do you know who I am? Or trying to stress how important they are, what have you. It can be coming from a wounded place because the Aries moon conjoins Chiron. Because like we were saying with Mercury square Jupiter, people typically don't need all of this attention or need you to bow down to them or tell them how important that they are unless they are navigating some feelings of shame within their own being, right? Truly confident people, they don't need to boast, they don't need to brag about it, they don't need attention about it, they just are themselves. They just are themselves and take that energy. Like, confidence is quiet, right? It's just an embodiment of it. And so just being mindful of individuals, while it can be frustrating with Sun square Jupiter, if possible and if appropriate, striving to find that energy around, okay, that must be somebody whose ego is kind of going through it, and that's why they need me to, stroke their ego. That's why they need so much attention. That's why they're having all of these demands, trying to flex how important they are, is because fundamentally they have not encountered their own importance, right? There just feels to be a story around that. But I would say, like, with this energy of Sun square Jupiter, like, it's a good thing to feel yourself. It's a good thing to be confident in who it is that you are. It's a good thing to be embodied with who it is that you are and what it is that you share, and sharing what it is that lights you up and sharing what it is that you're proud about yourself. Obviously, it can be taken to an excess, right? And get very boastful and very untethered within reality. But I want to say, if anybody has been navigating confidence struggles, like, this weekend would be a really great day to do something that makes you feel confident. Take a dance class, get ready and get all dressed up, put on your records and dance. Like, just do something that reminds you who it is that you are. It's Leo season. This is the time to create and play and share. Don't take yourself so seriously. Because again, sometimes with the egocentric bragging types, it's like, come on, you're taking yourself way too seriously. Nobody cares. We're just all souls navigating this experience. You're no more important than anybody else. But also when we descend to this energy around, I'm the worst and nobody likes me, it's also like, it's not so serious in that way either. Like, you're just here being a soul, being the person that you are. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you are, right? It's all about striking that healthy balance. And sometimes it can kind of like oscillate around feeling like, and other moments being like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst person ever. It can oscillate, right? But I think just feeling anchored in the person that you are, feeling anchored in your heart space, sharing what it is that you love, pouring love into the people that you love, right? Not taking yourself so seriously that you puff up your chest and need validation from tons of people, but also not taking yourself so seriously that you're constantly beating yourself up in your own head all day. Like, again, with the energy in Leo, create, play, have fun, share. If you just living in your truth and sharing your light causes other people to say you're so full of yourself or you're so narcissistic or what have you, oftentimes that can be a reflection of where it is that they don't feel comfortable sharing and feeling seen and what have you. This is something that I've had to get over just because it feels very narcissistic. Every time I like set up this ring light and I like put a camera on my face, I'm like, Haley, Haley, there must be a better usage of your time than to be like, you know, filming yourself, right? But this is what lights me up. I love to share it. And yes, people can view that as she's so full of herself that she'll film herself for like hours at a time chit-chatting. But I love to do this and I love to connect with you all. And I think you'd fill my heart more so than like, look at me, look at me, look at me, just for the validation. There's a difference there. So all I ask this weekend is just feel anchored in your heart space. Like, yes, if you're in a moment that you love, take a picture, share about it, you know, flaunt your stuff, strut your stuff. Like, it's Leo season. Allow yourself to be seen. Like, it's not full of yourself to capture moments that you love and to share the hobbies that you love and to do what it is that you love, so long as it's anchored in heart and not necessarily anchored in ego. Look at me, look at me. Hope that made sense. Let's talk about the moon aspects of Sunday. So as I highlighted, the Aries moon conjoins Chiron, and this could be, you know, contributing to the bravado, right? Like, you could deal with people at work who want special treatment, right? And it's typically because they don't feel important within their own lives, so that's why they're stressing you out, okay? But also in terms of your own experience with the Aries moon conjoining Chiron, you could be feeling wrong for the way that you are. Like I said, Mercury and Mars in Virgo does deal with themes of shame. And rather than looking at the things that are wrong with you as things that are wrong with you to be hidden, what if you looked at them as clues? What if you looked at them as clues? Like, what if the passions that you hide because they're weird, what if they were clues leading you to your life's work or leading you to the communities who will genuinely see you and find you? And what if the ways in which you are that you feel very wrong or flawed for, what if those are just components of yourself and what it is that you have to share? And again, there can be things you're insecure about, but how can you reframe it? Like, okay, I'm gonna keep it real. I may be a Virgo moon and rising, but I am a very messy eater, and I always have been since I was younger. I think I'm getting better, but who knows? Like, my mom used to literally say when I was younger, she's like, Haley, no one's gonna wanna date you unless you get this food thing together. And, you know, that used to be something that I had a lot of shame around. I'd feel like embarrassed to eat because I was like, oh my gosh, what if I'm messy with it or what have you? But now I've reframed it where I'm just like, you know what, that's a side effect of being a passionate person who loves to eat, right? Like, I just get excited. I'm just in the moment. I'm a sensual person. I love food. And a side effect about that is that sometimes I'm a little messy. I'm a little exaggerated with how I live life. I'm a little exaggerated with my hand movements and what have you. And that used to be aspects of myself that I would hide and try to be perfect and what have you. But now I just look at it and I'm like, it's just who I am. Like, it's not something I have to live in fear around. I am kind of working on the messy eating thing, but I also don't demonize myself for it. I used to feel like a fundamentally wrong person for the way that I eat. And I'm like, whatever, I just like eating. I'm just having fun. So what if I get a little mustard on my cheek? Speaking of fun, Sunday is a great day to have some fun with the Aries moon trining Venus and Leo. Create something, have a new challenge for yourself of something that you want to create. Make a birdhouse. Write a story that challenges you. Like, Aries moon is driven towards challenge. Venus and Leo, which is retrograde, keep in mind, there can be an energy around wanting to express ourselves in new ways or just have fun. Have a new challenge that lights you up. Go to the park and climb up rocks. Like, these are both energies I feel that kind of embody some inner child themes, like Aries simply because it's the first sign of the zodiac and Leo because it is associated with children. But there's like this pureness to Sunday around just having fun, around doing what lights you up, around capturing moments that are making you happy, around creating art that's making you happy and lighting you up. And there's like a pureness to it around not overthinking it, right? Not taking yourself so seriously, just having fun, like playing, like literally like you were a child. And also helpful for things of beauty, things of pleasure, of course, Venus themes. The vibe does dampen later in the day because the Aries moon does square Pluto at 9:13. So you could be feeling some major Sunday scaries. You could be like, I do not want to go into that place again tomorrow. Again, when we have Pluto energy, we can struggle with perspective. Things can feel life or death. But I would just say, especially with the moon entering Taurus at 11:25, ground down within this particular moment, within this particular body, within this particular experience. I think it's important with Leo season not to take yourself so seriously. Okay, even if you made a mistake, I guarantee no one's thinking about it as much as you are, okay? The data issue will be resolved, right? If you were messy eating dinner with your friends, no one's thinking about it as much as you. Like, be mindful where it is that you're beating yourself up. So my loves, that is our week. Our Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I take action to improve my life. The energy of Virgo is about refining and improving. That is why Mercury and Mars in Virgo process everything through the details. And yes, a lot of these details are inconsequential. A lot of these details are minute and not necessarily significant towards our big picture. But a lot of these details can be helpful. And it's important to just use the data of what comes up this week, the bad news that we're navigating, constructive criticism, and use it to improve our lives. That's what Virgo energy wants to do, is improve, to make more efficient. That's why they process everything through the details, trying to find ways to make it the best that it can possibly be. There's such a difference between this notion of perfection versus just the best that we can do. And it's important to feel anchored in the best that you can do, knowing that perfection is a myth, okay? Do the best that you can do with the body that you have, with the talents that you have, with the heart that you have, with the energy of Leo, and just believe in your ability to get better every single day, whether that shows up when you're working out, whether that shows up within your business, whether that shows up within your relationships. We fail when we stop trying. We fail when we stop putting in the work to dial in. And I think it's important to express that, yes, there is such a thing as talent. I see it within birth charts all the time where I'm like, this is a God-given gift that you have here. But I want you to know that a lot of people who excel in their craft, you know, Jack Kerouac, athletes, whoever comes to your mind, I want you to know, yes, they may have talent, but it takes a lot of discipline in showing up and a desire to want to get better, to want to improve. With Mercury opposite Saturn, you could be beating yourself up around, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. But with Mars trine Jupiter, asks you, how can I get better? How can I get better? Because with all this Virgo energy, we can be arrested by this idea of perfection. And perfection will never be a reality. But I will say there is a reality in being the best that you possibly can do. And being able to chisel and refine and show up for yourself and make the improvements within your life that allow you to do the best and be the best that you possibly can within this lifetime. With Mars trine Jupiter, take things into your own hands. Dedicate yourself to wanting to improve your life. That's how your life improves, is when you take action towards it. When you get out of your head around beating yourself up around, I'm not good enough, or I don't have natural talent, or I'm just a messy eater and that's it. With Mars trine Jupiter, it asks you, what am I going to do with this data? How am I going to improve my life with this data? What do I have power over within this existence? How can I make tomorrow a little bit better than it was today? Focus upon what makes you feel powerful this week. Focus on building positive momentum to create the changes and the improvements within your life this week. And most importantly, make it a beautiful week. So cheers, my loves. Thank you so much for being here and bearing with the different backdrop. Next week, I will be back in the Cosmic Corner and my New York City adventure will come to a close. Just want to remind you that beginning of the month is a great time to jump into Magic Monthly. You can join via the join button below. Comets tier is just supporting the channel. I am so grateful for you. Planets tier is for the printable or digital calendar, and Galaxies tier is for the digital astrology planner as well. And I just want to say thank you again for being so kind and so understanding about my sabbatical in July. I feel so grateful to have a community that is so compassionate. It's so interesting, and it's sort of like mirrored within this week's astrology, because I was very much energetically in this space around feeling like, well, this is just how it is. right? This is just how it is. You've made these certain commitments to show up on YouTube and for these other avenues of your business every single week. You cannot take a break. This is the life that you've chose. And I was very much resigned to those circumstances. Don't get me wrong. I love what it is that I do. But Haley Comet was doing good, and like Haley wasn't necessarily doing so good. And I just felt this energy around, well, this is just how my life is. You just got to keep going. And sort of symptomatic to this week's Mars trine Jupiter, I was like, but I do have power over things. I can make a difference. I can reorganize aspects of my business to take a break and deal with what's coming up. I can make tomorrow a more beautiful day than today. I don't have to feel resigned to these circumstances. I don't have to feel on this hamster wheel of cranking out content when there's other arenas of my life that really need my time, energy, and attention at this particular moment. So I just wanted to share that because there's an energy this week where we could be feeling so stuck, and I don't want to invalidate anything that you're moving through. I know this energy can feel super heavy, and I know me personally, before I took this break, things were feeling really heavy and I felt really stuck in that. But I just want you to notice the gaps of where it is that you can feel empowered, or where it is that you can create change, or where it is that you can move into a direction that makes you feel more free in order to find the perspective that you need, or to create the space that you need, or the expansion that you need. I just want you to feel empowered to create change within your life, because it is possible. It might not happen overnight. You might not have control over every aspect of your life, but I guarantee there is abilities to make tomorrow a more beautiful day than today. So I'm sending you so much love. Thank you so much for being here. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. And I gotta go run, and I mean literally run, to this jazz show because I am so late and Miranda might kill me. Just kidding. She would never. I'm sending you so much love, and until we meet again, drink lots of water, stay